If I were to describe today's episode in one sentence, it's going to be something along the lines of it's going to be okay. And I know that doesn't make sense at this time, but I promise at the end of this video, it will. Without further ado, hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of 30 Plus Click with Max and Yo Yo. And if you're seeing a third person on screen, you're quite perceptive. We have a guest in the studio with us today, Abraham, who is our friend, who has most recently gone through all the stages of being in a relationship, is on here today to share his experience from going from one spectrum to the end. But before I even tell you all about him, please 30 plus click. Give a warm welcome to Abraham, who is stepping into our studios today. Abraham, thank you so much. Welcome to 30 plus click.
Thank you, Max. I'm happy to join you guys today. Big shout out to everybody who is listening to us. Thank you.
I know you recently went through a breakup. How did you meet this person? How did the relationship start?
Okay, I met this person in my home country. When I met her, I didn't believe that I could click on a particular level, on a very base level with somebody. So it felt as if whatever I had been doing before I met this person was not serious until I met this person. That's how I felt when I met her. I knew that she knew that we were meant to be together at that time, if it makes sense. The realization was there for her. The realization was also there for me. And while this relationship was going on, I had so many beautiful experiences. There's this feeling that when people go through um, heartbreak, they tend to remember just the ugly side of what they went through. But if you have a sense of self retrospection and you can be able to reminisce, if you have this power to reminisce, I know it's always hard because of pain, but if you can walk through the pain and reminisce, one thing about life is when you are going through good times, your brain never records that you are going through good times until you reminisce. Very beautiful power that God has given us, human beings, the power of reminiscing. When you relive the past, you understand what a blessing God has given you to share time with that person who you think that you've passed through ugly experiences with. There are always two ways to look at life. You can always look at life through the negative lens, and you can grow through the pain. It's not good to grow past pain. It's good to go through the pain. Feel it. Because I believe that pain, you see, pain and fear, I believe that they are defense mechanisms put in place inside us by God to help us navigate through things. There's a reason why you pass through things. Don't jump across the pain. Pass through the pain. Feel it. Let it go through you. You've embraced the pain. Yes, I've lost this person. Yes, this person messed up. Yes, I too had a part to play in this mess up. At the end, there is a shared responsibility in blaming. I believe that the death of a relationship is by 1,000 cuts.
Hmm.
It's not just one. It doesn't just happen once. When the relationship dies, it's not just something that just happens just like that.
I love that because
Yeah.
damn, those were nuggets, yo yo. Before we go any further, 30 plus click. Have you experienced what Abraham is describing for us? Like, we want to hear from you. What was it like when you met somebody at the start and there was no games? There was just literally just connection, and you knew without a shade of doubt that this was your person. We want to hear all about it in the comment section. We want to hear your side. But yo, yo, over to you. What did you think about that?
Yeah. So one thing I really appreciate about you, Abraham, is the fact that you didn't see that breakup was a time to paint her black. Breakup was also a time for you to pick up your lessons. And also breakup was for you also to find your own mistakes. So like you rightly said, breakup happens when there are lots of thousand cuts, and you also contribute to the cuts as well, and so it's a shared responsibility. My question to you would be, why did you decide to break up since you have a very wonderful, beautiful relationship? What were the red flags for you? How did you identify those red flags? And how did you validate that they were red flags? And what brought you to the point that makes you decide that these red flags cannot be corrected? The only way out is to break up.
It's hard to just come out and say this and this is a red flag in a relationship. If you really love somebody, at that point, you don't look at red flags because love in itself is something that is total. When you love somebody, you don't just love the good side of them. You love the bad and the ugly because every human being has a very bad side and a very good side. And when you love, because I don't know how people see love. Me personally, Abraham, love is not an emotion. Love is duty. Love is sacrifice. Love is being willing to do what you don't normally do for that special person. Love is putting yourself on the line over and over again. Love is forgiving and forgiving. Love is being a fool intentionally. Because my dad used to say when he was alive that marriage is a union of two fools. You'll be a fool for me, I'll be a fool for you.
I love that.
That's what I had this programming right from when I was a child. You understand? Love is tolerance, love is sacrifice. Love is not just emotions. No, no, that's not what love is. But you know how when you watch cartoons, I used to watch a lot of cartoons when I was growing up. Every Disney um fairy tale cartoon, I watched almost all of them. And they always end the same way. And they lived happily ever after, in quotes. And that program is what has destroyed our relationships and our marriages. When you are in a relationship, you are not going to be happy all the time. A relationship and love and marriage is not about happiness. It's about shared responsibility. It's about asking yourself over and over again, what can I do to make this person stay with me, to be rich and worthwhile? That's how it is. Love is selflessness. So now looking at red flags from this angle, it makes it very blurry. That's what about red flags, because you may come and see my partner and you become like angry. How come you are looking at, how come you are enduring these things? This is a red flag. Oh, she's this, she's that. But I don't see those things. They are not a red flag to me. Why? Because love is an intentional decision to choose somebody over and over again every morning you wake up. That's what it is. And if you have this programming in your mind, if you have this programming in your thoughts, then the concept of red flags becomes very blurry. So when you say red flags, what were the red flags? I think people like to think that they are not proud. There's a healthy and an unhealthy amount of pride in every human being. It just needs a trigger. And most times, love is a two-edged sword. What a normal person cannot trigger in you, your loved one can trigger in you. That is why our siblings, if you remember the ugly fights we had when we were coming up with our siblings, because we loved them and they loved us, and they could bring out the worst in us. And the person can trigger the most raw, the most positive, and the most negative kind of reactions from you. And if you don't manage that negative part, it cuts, it damages the relationship and the love to the extent where there will be no point of return. And that's what happened.
Wow. Okay. On so many levels, we've defined what love is, which is quite beautifully said. How did we get to the point that we identified problem, and how did we disconnect so that because I assume it got destructive, which is why we're now here.
Okay, anger comes from a very basic lack of communication. There's something about communication. Just because you are talking with somebody doesn't mean you are communicating with the person. Somebody could be very, very unsatisfied with a relationship and still be enduring. Everything that has a pro has a con. For
Mm.
people like me who believe that you should always endure what your partner does to you because it's your job to choose that person over and over again, despite whatever comes up. You shouldn't do that to the extreme. Sometimes when things happen that you're not comfortable with, it may seem flippant, but communicate. Tell your partner this thing you are doing. It's it's not that it pisses me off, but it ticks something deep inside me. It makes me very uncomfortable. If you fail to communicate, believe me, you will surprise yourself one day. If you fail to communicate the things that you're not happy with in a relationship, one day you will surprise yourself. And nobody knows what they are fully capable of. So, in order not to find out what negatives you are capable of, you better communicate. This is the one of the biggest lessons I learned. You better talk. And if your partner is being dismissive, you better walk, sit down, brainstorm, find a way to make your partner not to be dismissive of what it is that bothers you that they do. If not, the relationship will degrade right before your eyes. Now, if God is on your side and any of you can realize and make things work or come to patch things up, then glory to God, you save your relationship, you save your marriage.
How did you get to the point where you said, okay, I need to walk away?
Okay. It got to a point where I started asking myself a question. And the question was this at that point in time. Although it was still at an instinctual level, maybe not well thought out as I can express it now, but it was still at an instinctual level. Because I believe for me that when I'm happy with you, when I'm angry with you, when I'm sad, when I'm displeased, whatever it is I'm passing through at that moment, anything that is going on inside me about you, I still love you. The love is not going away. I don't know whether that's how it is with other people, but that is just how it is. It doesn't go away in times of anger, in times of pain, in times of discomfort, displeasure, happiness. Those things are just like highs and lows. Emotions are highs and lows of relationships. They are not really what relationships are about. So when it got to a point, I started asking myself a question that the damage to trust, the damage to pride, the damage to so many things, so many foundations of a healthy relationship, communication, it's gone so deep. And I start asking myself, am I the right person for this person? Is she the right person for me? If I am not the right person, if I'm causing more sadness, more unhappiness than joy, if I love this person, why can't I walk away? If I'm no longer the best for this person, when you love somebody, you want the best for this person. If you're no longer the best for this person, why not go? And when I made this known to her, it went very unchallenged. It was very, very much welcome. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think one of the things, Yo-Yo, that stuck out to me was unchallenged. Unchallenged in the sense that it was a welcome decision. So I wonder if there is an argument to be made to say that both of you have either been consciously or unconsciously be putting yourselves in situations that led to all the chaos in your relationship because both of you were too afraid to be the first person to voice out this feeling that clearly was being felt. And the reason why I bring this up is we've talked about yours many times in our podcast, and I am a proponent of if you are not interested again, just say it. There's no need to put each other through an unnecessary levels of pain. But I also know that many people don't think like me, and I know that many people would rather do uncooked things, you know, to get the other person to walk away. Would you say that whether subconsciously or consciously, this may have been what was transpiring between the both of you, where you put yourselves in situations of uncouth such that the other person should be forced to walk away?
There's something when you felt love, deep, deep love, when you felt a deep connection with somebody, at that point when two of you are in sync, there's this feeling that you know what your partner is thinking and she knows what you are thinking. There was a point in time when I thought that I knew everything running through the mind of my partner. But right now, I am not so sure. And that is where the disconnect comes from. Like, I don't know how she was thinking. I didn't know then, and I still don't know now. I don't understand everything. And I have walked through my own side of the pain. I've walked through it to finally understand that sometimes you won't understand because you are not the next person. And it's okay not to understand. It's okay for the person not to want you back at that point in time. It's okay. If both of you have put in your best and it doesn't work, it's okay. If continuing in the relationship may cause more harm than good, it's okay for you to take a break. It's okay for you to walk your separate ways. It's okay. Human beings will have a finite amount of time to live on earth. And there's one thing you must understand as a human being to keep you humble and to keep you focused. You know that one day you will leave the earth. Even though it hurts like hell, it still hurts till now. I've just learned how to deal with the pain.
I want to say thank you for being comfortable. We're not done, by the way. I just want to say thank you for being comfortable to put yourself out here, to be vulnerable in the way that you have been. And I also want to give our audiences a chance to comment on what they've heard so far. I want you to walk our audiences through and what were some of the lessons that you were able to take out of that situation.
Okay, so when the relationship came to an end, I felt like I was in a hole where there was no light. I felt I was drowning and there was no way out. Like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And when you've met somebody that you feel that you won't meet any other person again, everything is circled around you and that person. So it was so hard, so difficult. I spent many months in darkness. When I started seeing light was when I started asking myself, what did you do? Because it takes two to dance. It takes two to tango. It takes two. A relationship, look at the word relationship. The word itself, a relationship, is a relation, like relation between two people. It's very easy to keep on looking at, oh, my partner did this, my partner did that. What did you do to trigger those things? I asked myself the question, and in the first few months, I didn't really see anything. But when I kept on asking myself questions and questions and questions, at a point in time, I started coming to answers.
After your reflection, what was your indictment of yourself?
My indictment of myself is that I felt too relaxed.
Mm.
I became lax in my relationship.
Let's say relax. What?
Let me explain.
Yeah.
You remember how I said that a relationship or a marriage is where you wake up every morning and you choose your partner over and over again every morning. Well, you don't just only choose, you work for your partner every morning. and your partner has to work for you every morning, every day. So what I mean by this is this: I felt complacent. Oh, she's mine, she's mine. You understand?
Mm.
So because a relationship that has lasted for like, let's say, over 3 years, 4 years, you become complacent. Let me just put it like that. And the things you do that makes her go, gradually you stop doing it, and you now enter this monotonous, chore like, unexciting kind of flat line that makes relationships die.
Can I ask you a question, Abraham?
Yes,
So when all this is in retrospect,
yes.
so the things you think you were doing to sustain the relationship, then thinking afterwards, were those things still worthy enough to sustain the relationship? Were there some things you would have grown into, or was it because you stopped doing it, or you were constant at that level of where
Okay,
you started?
I was constant at that level.
Okay,
Human
so
beings will,
what are the things that, because these we're having this conversation from the male perspective, what are the
yes.
things that folks out there that are currently in their relationship, or those that are going through breakup, what are the things that they should, I know everybody is different, but some things are very common and basic across people. So what are
Yes.
those common things across the male gender, right, that they should pay attention to either bring it up to an average level, and also they should grow onto?
Okay. The first thing you should do as a man, I believe, in a relationship is to be a source of inspiration to your woman. And how do you become a source of inspiration to your woman? You need to grow. As your woman is growing and changing, don't remain where you are. Grow physically, grow financially, grow academically, so that when she wakes up every morning and turns around and looks at you, you will inspire her. But if you become stagnant as a man and your partner is growing, time will come when she will outgrow you. And if she outgrows you, you can no longer inspire her again. So what I'm trying to say is every day you must fight for what is yours. You see, I'm sorry that's it sounds so gloomy, but that is just the truth.
No, that's okay. Thank you for sharing these tips. Yeah. My other question to you would be, looking at the other side of the gender, to the female world. So for those other ladies that have also they've gone through breakup, what would be your one advice to those ladies as well?
Okay. Everybody has a way to deal with pain. There is no one successful formula to deal with heartbreak and pain. But I know that it's never easy. All I want you to know is this: you need to hang in there. Find things like your job, your pets, find things to hold on to. Well, while the storm is blowing, the river is trying to wash you away, hold on to something. Time will heal the pain.
So beyond time, you talked about giving yourself the feedback. We also, so after giving yourself the feedback, what then did you do? Did you did you read? Did you go for counseling? Did you what did you do with those feedback?
Okay. Um, when I got the feedback after looking at myself and finding out that I am lacking, I was not perfect in this relationship, unlike what I thought when the whole thing was going down. I had to look outside myself, step out of your shell and look up from up, look down, try to see the better picture. So when I saw the picture and I saw that, you didn't do this, oh, you didn't do that. Oh. At the point in time, she was complaining about this. Oh. At the point in time, you thought that this complaint was too minor. You were focusing on the major things. You know, we tend to overlook the minor things, but it's the minor things that when they build over time that destroys everything. But the major thing, when it comes, becomes like a force. You will have to pay attention and then you solve it at that point in time. So when I started thinking, reminiscing, and I found out, then I now started saying, okay, how do I apply this to myself? The first thing I told myself is this: I need a time to heal. I need
So
time to
before you
heal.
go into the healing point, I just wanted to take 1 minute to say that to people in their current marriages and also to people in relationships, and you're at the point where you're thinking of quitting or you're thinking of, you know what, let's go our separate ways. I think we need to pay attention to those minor complaints your spouses or your girlfriends or your boyfriends have been complaining in the night, in the morning. Make a list of our complaints, and it's not just enough to pay attention to it, talk about it. Our last episode we addressed emotional abuse. All these are the things that feeds into emotional abuse at the end of the day. So listen to those complaints, and like Abraham has rightly said, work on yourself every day. I'm sure if she had seen those efforts on those complaints, I'm sure you would not have gone to where you are now with the relationship, right?
Maybe something will have been salvaged. Probably.
Okay, so let's jump into the healing. We love light, and everybody also loves light. So, what is healing? What does healing look like for you after a breakup?
Okay, the first part of healing was embracing the pain and not running away from it. That
Yes,
was the
you've
first
dealt
thing.
the
That's
pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You,
what
you
was the
need
next thing?
after embracing the pain, like this pain is here to stay. Okay, I believe that people are different. There are people that have the, how will I put it, the ability to just snap their finger and move on in a relationship. But there are people who don't. Not that it will take you back to the person, but you know that you are dealing with that heartbreak and that pain. I don't know how it works for the female mind, but for the male mind, one thing about males is this. I don't know whether you've noticed it. It's very hard for a male to fall in love. But when he does, it's very hard for him to get over it.
So now that you've identified, because the goal here is to walk towards a place of healing, walk towards a place where you are emotionally sustainable, to be in another relationship with, well, somebody else, or even with this person, who knows. So you've identified the problems. Are you now working towards being better in terms of the things that you've identified for your next
Yes.
relationship? Because what you want to do, or what I believe, is one, identifying the problem is one half of it. What you do next after identifying the problem is the cocoa. You understand? Is the main thing. You understand? So now we've identified the problem. What are your commitments now to make sure that, one, I do better for my next person, and two, that I'm out of this sunken place that I'm currently in?
Okay. Okay. After dealing with the pain, understanding that the pain is normal, it's natural, the next thing you do is to self improve. Those things you've identified physically, financially, academically, psychologically, just work, self improve. It's not healthy to go into another relationship with the flaws you have self identified from the past one. And if you find out that you've not totally gotten there where you want to be at the self improvement table, give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. Walk through improvements in all facets of your anger management, humility, finances, all aspects of life. In fact, most aspects of life, just work the ones you can, because some, yeah, just do the best you can. Then when you get there and you've gotten to a place of emotional health, then you can try out. But till you get there, please heal first. I don't know whether it takes 3 months, it takes 1 year, it takes 2 weeks, I don't know. But for everybody it's different, but just heal. Make sure you heal. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You know yourself. When you've healed, then you can go out there again.
Thank you very much, Abraham. You've been very open, you've been very vulnerable, and you've been very sincere. And I also love the fact that you brought emotions to this conversation that helped us to connect with you and connect with your story. And to our 30 plus community, we want to share stories because we know our listeners are at different spots. Don't just zero up your mind that, oh, they're talking about relationship, I'm already married. There are so many nuggets out of this session today that you can use in terms of complain, but complain in the right way. And if you are the spouse that you've been getting so many complaints from your spouse, go back to your table and walk through those complaints. And another tip is don't just walk through those complaints all by yourself. Talk about the complaint and see how to grow. Because for one relationship you save, there are so many lives that you're saving because there are so many people that are looking up onto you that you don't know. And if you're married, you have children, you are also, you know, bringing up different generations that would look at you, either the husband or the wife, to say, okay, this is the best practice. So the ability for you to walk through those complaints, you are also demonstrating to your children that it's okay to have issues, but it's very perfect to talk about it and resolve it. Thank you to our 30 plus community. We really see how you've liked our post. We see how you've commented on our last session. We really love you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the new subscribers in our community. Welcome to 30 Plus Click. We kindly ask that you like our posts. We kindly ask that you comment. We kindly also ask that you engage on our posts, on our videos, and our shorts, and so that more people will get to learn, more people will get to see what we're doing. And thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care and bye.
Bye, guys.